Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Moed Katan, page 12, in which we learn three different situations where even though typically the law is lenient, when we're dealing with an Adam Chashuv, a prominent individual, we go strict. The first situation has to do with on Chol Moed having a contractor working. Now, a contractor in which his whole purpose is him working for himself to finish a particular task that you hired him for, technically, then he should be able to work for you, provided that he's doing the work outside of the basic city, outside of the boundaries of the city. And because of that, people aren't going to see it. However, when it comes to an Adam Chashuv, we're strict, and we don't even allow him to hire such a contractor to work on Chol HaMoed. Second of all, we have two stories of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, who happened to be wearing a special ring, in which on Shabbat, of course, one of the 39 prohibitions is not to carry. To wear a garment is acceptable, is allowed. The question is this particular type of ring. In the courtyard, not in the Reshut HaRabim, the public thoroughfare, but in the courtyard, we do allow people to wear it. However, because he's an Adam Chashuv, we said he should not. Finally, when it comes to the laws of cooking, there is a prohibition called Bishul Nachri, Bishul Akum, that we do not want someone who is an idol worshiper to be engaged in cooking foods. However, that only applies to food that needs to be cooked. If it could be consumed in its raw state, that is not an issue of Bishul Akum or Bishul Nachri. When it comes to this situation, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was drinking warm water, and technically, that should not be a violation. But again, for the third time, we find that we're strict when it comes to an Adam Chashuv. The question is why? If it's allowed, it should be allowed. If it's not allowed, then it shouldn't be allowed for anyone. And the answer is that we know that when it comes to someone who is in a prominent stature, that individual is watched and looked at in a much more public eye than the typical person. And therefore, that individual may very well be judged more than the typical person. And because of that, one needs to be even more careful and cautious in their actions so that it will never be misconstrued in any negative way. This also happens to be someone who just walks around with a kippah. That, in the world that we live in, is considered like an Adam Chashuv, in that people will judge you. And therefore, we have to be extra careful in everything that we say and do to make sure that nothing that we do or say could ever be misconstrued.